virtual annual Mayor's Luncheon. I hope it's our last virtual Mayor's Luncheon. We hope we can get back together as we get through this thing a little bit. I know we're starting to program some things a little bit so that we can do some live things. We're going to bring our WOW and our mob group back together in June for a live luncheon. So hopefully we'll be able to get more and more of those things. But, you know, this is always a great event to get all four of our villages and get our mayors together. It's, you know, it's great that they can talk and talk about all the challenges, really, when you think about it. But there's an awful lot of success that's gone into this last year with the partnerships that the villages have done with their business community. It's been great. And I frankly have to say, I don't know that some of the businesses would be around if it wasn't the partnership that the villages offered them. So I am at the beautiful Dover Straits in Mundelein. If you haven't been here, it's a throwback restaurant. The boys do a great job. Came over here for dinner after playing golf on Sunday, and I hadn't seen them in probably 3 or 4 months, but it's like I saw them the day before. Their food is tremendous. It's a great seafood dining restaurant, and just the welcoming that they give you. They make you feel right at home, along with their staff. They do a really fantastic job, and I'm very thankful for them letting me come out and sit in the tent today to be able to Zoom the meeting for today. I want to introduce our board chairman for the year. It's Mr. Steve Kopala from Northwestern Mutual. Steve, I know you wanted to say a few words, so I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Scott. I appreciate it. And I myself am a huge fan of Dover Straits. I've been going there ever since I was little with my dad to have a fish sandwich and watch the Cubs game right at the bar. So I appreciate it and appreciate them sponsoring. First off, congratulations to all the newly elected village officials. This is exciting. The Mayor's Luncheon is one of my favorite among the community, and it's just one of the best events. And the reason why I say that is I look back to last year at the same point in time, and really all the uncertainty that was there, and for the chamber to be able to host this event and bring the 4 town mayors to be able to provide some leadership, guidance, transparency on where the towns are going and what they're seeing as upsides as well as downsides. This has been a challenging year for our small business, large businesses, and families alike. And I am just so thankful to have all 4 of you and us working together. And I'm proud to report that the chamber is thriving, and it is because of the 4 towns and our leadership at your level. And so thank you so much for being here. I know your time is valuable, and we truly appreciate it. And thank you, Scott and Carol, for really putting this together and knowing the value of what this brings to all our members. With that said, there's always one of my favorite things, and I know Mayor Terry Wepler is not here anymore, but Steve, I do have to say the Mundelein Libertyville rival of baseball, although it's not this week, was a couple weeks ago. So hopefully there's still some fresh banter around that and some fun play. So always appreciate that. And if need be, I will carry it on with you. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Dover Straits. Thank you, Scott Adams and Carol, and everyone for just participating alongside that.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate that. Before we get into the presentations, I've got a few people that I want to recognize, so bear with me on that. We have John McGuire from Visit Lake County with us today. We have Terry Scriba from Mundelein Community Connection. We have our good friend Mitch Bienvenue from the SBDC at CLC. Mitch, we're going to give Mitch a few minutes at the end of the presentation to give us an update on what's going on with the SBDC. Mitch has been invaluable this last year, particularly with the small businesses and the programs that they've got. We've got Marley Pikelny from the American Cancer Society with us, and Amy Williams from the Adler Art Center with us. So welcome, thanks for being with us today, as well as our 4 mayors. Mayor Bernie Wysocki from Green Oaks, Mayor Donna Johnson from Libertyville, Mayor Steve Lentz from Mundelein, and then Mayor Roger Byrne from Vernon Hills. Thank you again for your time today. I want to just recognize our board of directors. I think most of them are here today, but we'll read them off. As you just heard from Steve, our chairman from Northwestern Mutual. One of our vice chairs is Dwayne Laska from North Shore Sign Company. Vice chairman and platinum member Mike Ackerman from Dreammakers Bath and Kitchen. Our treasurer James Busum from Dan Snell Tavern. Our secretary April Coote from Serve Pro Libertyville. Ray Billick from Perfect Promotions. Alan Burek from Advocate Condell Medical Center. Bill Hasse from Wella Financial. Dr. Mike Hartlett from Integral Medical and Rehab. Chris Piazzi from Mundelein Community Bank and president level and the main event sponsor for us today. And we also are happy to have Steve with us as well. We'll say a few words in a few minutes. Denise Kafkas from the village of Green Oaks, Heather Rowe from the village of Libertyville, Eric Gunther from the village of Mundelein, John Petrillo from the village of Vernon Hills, and our immediate past chair, Karen Lavras from Glacier Ice Arena. She's also our main event chairman for all of the events that we have. I want to just recognize a few of our members, our president level members, the Wintrust Bank Group, which is Libertyville Bank and Trust, Mundelein Community Bank and Vernon Hills Bank and Trust, Bank Financial, the CDW Corp, Laser Precision, and Republic Bank are all at our president level, as well as our 4 villages. Our platinum members with us today are Jay Steiner from Live Oak Bank, Mr. Jim Butler, a past chairman of the board from GHB Consulting, and Rich Morris from Wells Fargo. The Wintrust Group has been very good to us over the years, and they always like this event very much. So they're our main event sponsor today, and it comprises the 3 banks that I just spoke of. So I'm going to give Mr. Steve Madden, CEO of the Libertyville Bank and Trust Group, a few minutes to talk about the bank.
Great. Thank you, Scott. And good morning, everybody. It's great to see everybody in 2-dimensional mode, but I don't know about you all, but I am almost at the point where I'm zoomed out. So hopefully next year, or hopefully sooner than that, we'll be back in 3-dimensional mode, all together in the same room, networking and catching up on a year's worth of lost togetherness time. You know, it's been kind of a rough 12 to 15 months. And Scott, I'm not sure I would have believed you last year at this time if you said we'll see you virtually again in 2021 at the Mayor's Luncheon. But we're delighted. Libertyville Bank and Trust and our branches, Mundelein and Vernon Hills Bank and Trust, are delighted to be the lead sponsors of today's luncheon again. Supporting our communities and the organizations like GLMV is of paramount importance to us. And it became even more evident over the last 12 months or so how much we rely on the communities and how much the communities rely on their local community bank and the relationships that that many of you have with us. We've been busy over the last year with our PPP efforts. I'm sure that you're all fully up to speed on PPP, but the Wintrust community banks in the aggregate originated over 20,000 loans, representing almost $5 billion in loan proceeds, helping just countless numbers of small and medium-sized businesses in our communities. At the local level here in Libertyville and our branches, we originated, almost 1,300 of those loans, representing just short of $200 million in loan proceeds. And that is really, that is as grassroots banking as you can get. And it was the efforts of a lot of folks at the Libertyville Charter to really reach out and serve our community businesses. So again, we appreciate the opportunity to sponsor today's luncheon. We look forward to our continued partnership with the Chamber and with each of the communities represented today. And with that, Scott, thank you. And I'll turn it back to you.
Thanks, Steve. I really appreciate it and appreciate your support. As Steve says, and we've said before, this has really been a challenging year. It's and it wouldn't be as successful if we didn't have the support of our 4 villages. They really rallied around our businesses, and it was, a life-saving in many cases for them to do that. And we're really privileged to have that. And the 4 villages have a real tight bond. They do a lot of intergovernmental work together, which is great, saves the taxpayers money. But they're facing, they're like a regular business. They're facing the same issues as the businesses in the area do. So we're happy to hear from them today. If you've got questions, put them in the chat, and at the end of the presentation, Carol will go through the questions and we'll read them off. Our first presentation today is from Green Oaks, a community rich in tradition with a growing retail and commercial business district. I want to welcome Mayor Byrne Wysocki, and Bernie, I'll turn it over to you.
Are you going to share your screen? Okay. Can you all see this?
Yes.
No, what does she need to do there, Carol? I see it. It's underneath.
I don't see it. Did you hit your share screen?
Yes, I did. Let's see, I'll try again.
And then click on the screen. There you go.
There you go. Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm sure that won't be the last glitch, but
Hey, workarounds for all that stuff, Bernie.
yeah. So I'm very happy again to meet with all of you. I think you all know that Green Oaks is a partner in the GLMV. Sitting to my right is Denise Kafkas, our village administrator. What a year this has been, and I've been the mayor since 2006 and on the board since 1987. And I think all the mayors would agree that it was a year of extreme challenges, whether it was communication or finances or just an uncertain future. But I think we're getting through it. So much thanks to our board, our administrator and staff who came into work every single day, our first responders, our schools, our elementary schools, teachers and parents and students were outstanding. They went in-person learning from the beginning and are 2 weeks away from graduating their 8th graders. And it's just a joy that they were able to get through the entire year without any incident. What you see on the screen right now is our projects. We were able to complete multiple projects during 2020 and 3 million overall, 1.8 million in roads and infrastructure. The 2021 projects are up on your screen. Fortunately, we have gone out for contracts. The contracts have been approved because most of you know that the cost of materials, et cetera, have not only doubled, but in some cases tripled in price. So we're off and running with our projects to do for this year. We, at the same time, with the financial situation with our homeowners, we reduced our taxes and were able to provide for the services at a much lower cost this past year. It shows the breakdown. Basically, we have taxes of 0.1% as far as our real estate taxes are concerned. As I mentioned, our schools, they're the top ones in the state and by all of the metrics that we have for us, and it makes living in Green Oaks a priority. Houses usually don't last more than a week on the market. It's a seller's market right now, and they're going fast in our village. Our biggest project this coming summer will be the Corporate Center for Impact Networking. It's going to be a several million-dollar project that will be on Bradley Road next to the tollway just adjacent to Matawa. It will bring great amount of economic assistance to our village as we see it. We also, during this past year, involved some annexation of what was vacant property to clear out invasive woody growth, namely buckthorn, and to clear out the areas so that they can be an open space for our residents. Putting the green back in Green Oaks is always a challenge, but it was especially heartening that we had a number of volunteers who would assist in cleanup and restoration of the shoreline of Lake Catherine by removing the buckthorn and weedy growth, help restore the ponds at Saddle Hill, and the work that has been done along the pathways through our village. For this year, we are beginning our road rehabilitation project, which will be an additional 3.5 miles of roadway. And at the completion of this project, which is year 3 of our projects of paving all of our roads, we will have completed 55% of our roadway and paving everything from the north end to the south end. In addition to the roadway, we have intergovernmental agreements for street sweeping, pavement marking, crack sealing, and road rejuvenators to be included, and has saved us hundreds of thousands of dollars by having those. Here's a project that will bring a tear or a laughter to your face. For the past 15 years, we have been asked by the residents of Green Oaks and Libertyville to have the Metro tracks reduce and eliminate the train whistles as they go through this intersection. The Metro board and the federal board constantly would throw roadblocks up for us to try to complete this project. The last hurdle that they had was that the driveway that just outside of this screen was too close to the tracks. It needed to be 100 yards from the tracks, and it wasn't.
Oh yeah, Chad is.
How can I help you?
And so we ended up with the help of the residents in that area, raised over $30,000 to move the gentleman's driveway. And we were able to work an intergovernmental agreement together with Libertyville to put in the delineators that you see there. And it looks like next week or so that we will finally have a quiet zone on St. Mary's. So it only took 15 years, but hallelujah, it's come to pass.
Yeah, the remote one that we advertised today, that is full-time. It's not part-time.
If
Sorry
everyone,
about
Yeah,
that.
those ones are.
Everyone
But what
mute
you
their-
can do, Joe, do you see
please
that
everybody
email
mute
address
their
you sent
screen.
over that
Computers,
your
please.
resume to
Erica.
us?
Muted, Erica.
Yeah, why don't you? Yep. Absolutely. Yep. So that JobStat one goes to our whole recruitment team.
Carol, can you
We
mute
are.
everyone?
Mhm,
Yeah, I'm
yep,
looking
right
to
next
mute
Panera
her.
Bread across the
Can
street
mute her.
from Condell.
Erica, would you please mute?
Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
hey. It's just like my meetings, I lose control early, you know.
Sorry about
Okay,
that.
okay. Well, yeah, I'll make sure to take a Yeah, I'll make sure
Hi.
to keep an eye out for your name coming through too, so I can let the recruiters know that you followed up with a call today as well.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, yes.
Okay, so back on the 2021 infrastructure improvement projects. Besides the roadways, we have a number of creeks, sewer restorations, special service areas, and that will be conducted this particular year. And they've started already on that particular project. The TIF district that we have, which is basically the north end of Roundout, has been a very great success for the village. The equalized assessed valuation when we started this in 2014, at the end of 2014, at a value of $39,500. The valuation now is over $32 million, which by any stretch of the imagination is a very successful TIF district. We've raised the taxes for the taxing bodies from $2,000 to $2 million. We have a number of projects that we will continue to do in the TIF district to again help defray the costs to our local taxpayers and increase the finances to our local taxing bodies. One of those is Spectrum Development that was on the old Jamaica Gardens. And I'm happy to say within a couple of years, they've already approached full capacity. And it's a really wonderful senior living center. We also, with the TIF assistance, were able to garner the Sheridan Senior Center. And that was an approach that we took with them to assist them with their costs. And to date, we have provided them with $291,000 in assistance to help them defray their cost of building the senior center there. We also, because we brought in 2 new senior living centers, also with the assistance of our joint review board, approved an intergovernmental agreement with the Libertyville Fire Protection District for both the senior living center and the Sheridan of Green Oaks to provide them with an annual reimbursement check and to provide them cost towards new ambulances. And to date, we have spent over $41,000 under that intergovernmental agreement. We have put together a Green Oaks Business Park. We are in the process of developing additional tenants on that property with all of the infrastructure, and all of the improvements have been done. So it's shovel ready for anyone who wishes to go ahead and begin business in our village. During this year, we have been working on improving Route 176 to take it from a 2-lane to a 4-lane, possibly 5-lane roadway to allow for the truck traffic and other traffic that is used along Route 176. As you all know, the roads that we have going east and west, unless they're at least 4 lanes, usually get congested 24/7. And we've already been working on the engineering design so that we can be ready for our place in line when the state provides us with the funding to complete the project. One of the roads, there are several roads in Roundup that were private roads, and when you had a private road back in the wild west, they tended to be just throw down some patch, and that was it for the roadway. So Baker Road is one of our first roads that we are taking over as far as from private to a public road, and we are re-engineering and providing the infrastructure and roadway this summer, and it will be approximately over $500,000 to do that first roadway. It'll be paid from the TIF assistance that we have. You may have noticed if you've driven along 176, we have streetscape improvements. We've taken down the buckthorn that you see in the left-hand side and completed that along the North Shore bike path that runs along Route 176. We'll be doing another mile stretch for the clearing of the invasive species along that routeway. We're also in the process of acquiring additional properties to reinvest and reduce the blight that is in that area. We're also trying to brand our name. And so for our businesses, we're putting up panels that will be directory signs for the businesses in that area, and to provide the motorists with the ability to know where their business might be, and to give us some kind of improvement in that area. Lastly, I wanted to talk, you know, all of us have had to go through a lot during the pandemic, and my residents have really shown a lot of resilience and cooperation and an outpouring of goodwill and generosity. I can't begin to tell you how many wonderful projects they have undertaken in our village. But we had our very first Santa parade, which with the cooperation, that's Chief Karani in the Santa suit there. And he was kind enough to spend 4 hours going every street, every cul-de-sac. Everyone came out, all the children ran along the streets waving to Santa, being hopeful for not only Christmas but the upcoming year. We had a very successful coat drive for the veterans. We had several hundred coats donated. This is just one drop off of coats that we had that we delivered for veterans and the homeless. We also had the National Take Back Day with the Lake County Sheriff's Office, where unused prescription drugs could be dropped off, and we had several moving boxes worth of pills that were destroyed and safely out of the hands of people and children. So we're very positive for the upcoming year. We look forward to working with the chamber and any businesses that are wanting to locate in Green Oaks. We have a lot of TIF assistance, and we are business friendly in our community, and we look forward to the upcoming year to work with our mayors and our intergovernmental agreements that we have in place. Thank you very much for having me, Scott. You and Carol are the best.
Thanks, Bernie. Really appreciate your partnership, and it's really great to see all the good things going on in Green Oaks. It's amazing, and you guys have been so proactive with your businesses. It's been super important. So thanks again for all your help. For the last 12 years, we've had one mayor in Libertyville. This year is new. We have Mayor Donna Johnson, who took over in 1st of May. We just said, I'm pleased to have served with Donna on the board for close to 7 years now. And we had our first village board meeting with Donna presiding last Tuesday, and it went really well. So we're really happy to have her with us. You know, Donna is a retired corporate attorney and was previously the head of the Village Planning and Zoning Commission, and has been on the village board since 2007. So welcome, Donna, and we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate this. I'm a novice out of the gate. So for all the mayors that are on the line, particularly Byrne, who I've seen often, you know, at Sunset and other things that we support, I just really appreciate all of you helping to coach me through this initial phase. I look forward to each of the mayors reaching out so that we can collaborate where we have common interest. And I definitely know that you all are seasoned veterans in terms of your roles, and you've brought so much to your respective communities as well as to Lake County. So I know that I can learn a lot from each of you. So I look forward to reaching out. And I also look forward to you reaching out to me and sharing any pearls of wisdom that we can go forward and work on together. So thanks, Scott. Thank Carol. Thank the chamber for bringing us all together today. So now, Carol, you can move on to the next slide. So at this time, I'd just like to indicate that we have, in addition to me moving into the mayoral chair, we have some new trustees as well, and our more seasoned one. So I'd like to acknowledge them at this time if they're on the line. That is, of course, senior trustee Scott Adams, who's presiding over this today. Trustee Pete Garrity, I hope he's on as well. Trustee Matthew Hickey is part of our new group of trustees that are now ascending to these roles. Trustee Matthew Crumick, Trustee Dan Love, and Trustee Jim Connell. So if you're on the line, welcome. And I just am so honored to have all of you as part of my team. So I look forward to us working together to do great things for Libertyville. Carol, you can move forward with the next slide. So just in terms of an overall perspective on what we tried to do relative to coronavirus and the status of it today as it impacts the village, we've tried very often to keep our offices open to the public with the safety precautions that have been implemented by the state and by the CDC. But we realize that our primary priority is to make sure that our office services are available to our residents, considering all the restrictions. And we think we've done a good job in doing that. And I applaud our staff for being able to continue to keep the office open and working and available to the residents. In terms of our board and commission meetings, we're still virtual. And as we've all expressed today as part of this meeting, we look forward to having in-person meetings and reconnecting with everyone and really sharing and getting input in person from not only our residents, but our peers on the commissions and the board. So we look forward to that. And in terms of supporting our businesses today, as we move into the bridge phase of coronavirus, we have listed locally on our websites those businesses that are up and running and what their their business hours are. So we want to make sure that residents realize that even though we're transitioning from curbside support, particularly in our dining restaurants, we just want to remind them that as a community, we need to support them. We also utilize the tools of email communication alerts to alert our businesses relative to any changes that were implemented both from the governor and on the federal level from the CDC that would help them in terms of proactively staying up to date with these changes. In terms of accommodations as a village that we allowed for to support our businesses to keep them open and keep them thriving. We allow for outdoor dining through extended periods. We allow for improvised tents to extend the number of people that could be attended to both for the dining as well as outside and being consistent with social distancing. And we also supported related signage so that people were aware whether businesses were open, what they could allow for inside, outside in terms of masks. And at this point, I'd just like to shout out to the Libertyville residents for being so supportive of our restaurants, and the curbside dining support over the last year has been tremendous. And we want to applaud our residents for that and the surrounding communities that supported us as well. And then we also we expanded our Libertyville Reward Certificate Program. And the goal there in light of what's going on with the coronavirus issues is to promote car dealerships and patronage of them. And then as a result of those people who patronize the car dealerships, there were certificates and reward incentives to get them back into the C1 district and our other local businesses and to help them support them. So that worked out very successfully. And we wanted just to take every opportunity for the limited number of people that were out circulating during the last year that they would also patronize our businesses. So you can move on to the next slide, Carol. Thank you. And then in terms of recent highlights and things that we've done and accomplished over the year, at a high 80,000 feet level, we began collection of our non-home rule sales tax that was approved to fund capital improvements in the village. We also adopted a stormwater utility fee for billing that is going to start and take effect after bills issued on September 1, 2021. We also entered into a lease agreement with Canlan Sports Corporation, which is domiciled in Canada, to operate the indoor Libertyville Sports Complex beginning July 1, 2021. And Canlan, after conducting much due diligence, is an expert in this area. They're used to operating these kind of facilities, and we look forward to this partnership starting July 1. And we're very happy because it is our expectation that they will continue to provide quality services that are expected by our residents and others that patronize the sports complex. So we think that this accomplishment is a win-win for us. And then as Bernie referenced in his slides, we partnered with Green Oaks to implement the quiet zone on St. Mary's Road in terms of the roadway petitions there. And that project, as Bernie indicated, is almost completed at this time. And I think you get a lot of support for those quiet zones on the railroad crossing. So we're happy that we were able to partner with our neighbor Green Oaks to get this accomplished. And then at this time, we've also extended our intergovernmental agreement for dispatch services with the village of Vernon Hills. And we think that this is a win-win. And it's also a clear example for us as other communities where we leverage the intergovernmental agreement to provide services and at the same time conserve cost. So we think that is an accomplishment. And then our American Rescue Plan allocation, that has allowed us to replace lost revenues in our general fund, in our hotel motel tax fund, and our commuter parking fund. And one of the things that we're looking to do is to partner with our Economic Development Commission to put forth a proposal to determine what out of that allocation that we can designate for business-related programs. So that's something we will be exploring going forward in the future based on recommendations from our Economic Development Commission. Carol, the next slide. And then in terms of the stormwater utility fee, the implementation of that stormwater utility fee, as I referenced before in the highlight section, is to finance capital improvements identified in our master stormwater management plan. And the estimated ticket item on that plan is $53 million over 15 years. So it was important to us as a community and as elected officials to work with those consultants to determine how we could move forward on a gradual basis to address the global issues that we have in this community regarding stormwater management. And so we explored so many options. We were trying to conserve costs, but also make sure that we had a long-range plan that would supplement the things that we need to move forward on in our community to address the stormwater management issue and to finance the capital improvements. And we felt out of all our options that the stormwater utility fee was the best to move forward in that area. Now, in terms of the formula and just at a high 80,000 feet level, what we did to determine what that amount would be is that we use the amount of impervious surface on a particular parcel and the development intensity, which is really using the industry terms. The development intensity is a balance between the surface to impervious surface. I mean, the amount of surface on the parcel that is where the water will run off and there's a higher percentage of pervious surface. And then in terms of that surface where water will not run off and be directed. And so we were trying to balance the impact on our village stormwater infrastructure. And so that was the formula that we use to arrive at the fee under that stormwater management utility fee that we impose going forward. And in advance of that, in order to educate the community residents on exactly how that amount could be calculated in terms of an estimate, we have provided in advance an estimator tool that was online prior to approval of the fee. And people had, residents could go in, both commercial and individual residents could go in and input their PIN for each one of the parcels individually. And if there were multiple PINs, they had to input those individually into the tool. And as a result, they could calculate the estimated amount that they would pay in terms of this stormwater utility fee. And then we also had open meetings with our residents to discuss in detail how we arrived at this recommendation, what the consultants told us, what our findings were, what our formula would be. And we spent extensive time educating everyone. And so we think at this point that this is the best thing we can do moving forward to arrive at this, to cover this $53 million cost over the next 15 years and develop a more solid stormwater infrastructure. Carol, could you move on to the next slide? And then in terms of our fiscal year 2021 to 22, the budgeted amount is $67.2 million. And what that includes is our continued commitment to our village residents and those who patronize our programs here is to provide high quality, efficient municipal services. We've also discovered as a result of COVID and other things that our operating expenses decreased by 2.6% over the prior fiscal year. But the fortunate thing and the good news is that we didn't have to make any significant cuts in service level. One of the things that our community was aware of and we were forecasting during the year of COVID in order to conserve the decrease in expenses is that we actually closed our sports complex, knowing that during that period with the federal CDC guidelines and all that, and no vaccine at that time, that we were limited and isolated. And so we thought, why would we continue to cover the maintenance and open door expenses of a facility that our residents wouldn't have access to during the COVID period? So this helped us also in terms of conserving the number of decline in expenses over that fiscal year. And we're really happy about that. We feel that our financial director, as well as his team, did a great job in keeping us in that, being able to offer those quality services. And then going back to our robust capital program, that will, which is $16.4 million, that's going to be funded by our non-home rule sales tax revenues, our utility fees that are already in place, water, sanitary, sewer, and then also added to that will be the stormwater sewer fee that will become effective on billing September 1, 2021. Okay, Carol, now you can move on to the next slide. And then we're very happy that after extensive participation by representatives from our community, both on the business side, individuals within the community, we were able to, along with our stellar planning team, as well as myself at that time as the trustee representative, we were able to complete what we would call our comprehensive plan. We were also able to get input from the community prior to approval of that plan. We integrated those comments as best we could into our proposed plan. And we're happy that that was adopted in March of 2021. We'd like to emphasize that the plan that we adopted is a guidepost, and we think it's a good guidepost both to business developers, to residents coming in, and we view it as a community tool to apprise developers coming into the community on future land use decisions and improvements and where we want to head in terms of our vision going forward as a community here in Libertyville. We've also refined, as a result of the comprehensive plan, our public input sessions and surveys. So as I said earlier, we've taken that information, we reflected on it, and we plan to integrate it as best we can into how we move forward, both in our planning department and how we apply the comprehensive plan. And then something we plan to be more aggressive about than we have in the past in Libertyville is we will be looking towards encouraging more infill development by developers considering where the economics are going in the future. And we recognize, looking at our partners on the border and the perimeters and looking at our individual community, that this is something that we need to be more aggressive about in the future. The next slide, please, Carol. And then we provided a tool that we're very proud about in terms of our zoning code. We think this online zoning code access is going to be both beneficial to developers coming in and before they submit a design or a plan. We think it will make it easier for them in terms of their planning to have access to our code in advance, to become familiar with what our requirements are before they meet with staff. And we also think, which is something we're trying to do both internally and with developers and people that are willing to come in and support our community, we want to make the process more efficient, more accessible, more available to them, and streamlined. And this is one of the tools we think that will facilitate that. So this online zoning code is fully searchable, it is intuitive, and again, it will make it more easily accessible to business owners, people that are trying to make enhancements in the community, developers and people that are coming in with proposals, and for our residents that are trying to make changes both on their property and their business property. So we're very proud of that. And as indicated on the slide, you can access that on our website. Thank you so much. And Carol, would you move on to the next slide, please? And then in terms of, development and industrial development in our I-1 districts, Innovation Park is an example of what we're trying to do in terms of partnering with businesses to bring in more corporate leasing space. We're working very aggressively to utilize these industrial parks and space to fill vacancies. And I'd like to, at this point, really extend kudos to Heather Rowe, who is part of our planning team. She's our economic representative and development in the community. She's partnered very well with these businesses. And what we're trying to do is to fill these spaces, both with large and small units. And she was very instrumental in getting new tenants into that Innovation Park space. An example of that is Mundelein, F-Box, Intermatic, and Rollover. And she's also good at promoting that by the other added benefit of leasing in this Innovation Park is that they have amenities that they can use, like the conference center, the meeting rooms, the game room, the cafe, and food services. And although there have been some restrictions as a result of COVID, we're trying to move back into that space and promote the amenities that we provide. And then, of course, we have Vico Midwest, who's very much a part of this advancement in the industrial space and filling these vacancies. So we're very proud of that. Move on to the next slide, please, Carol. And then in terms of new developments in our community that we're very proud of and happy about is off of Milwaukee. We had a current car dealer, Gregory Infinity, and they vacated the space that they've occupied and expanded on North Milwaukee Avenue. And that project is now open. They added some great improvements to that site. It is one of the entry points coming from the south of Milwaukee into the village. We're very proud of how that dealership looks in the presentation. And then not only did they build the actual structure for the cars, but the service area, the car wash area are all very good footprints moving into Libertyville on Dealer Row. And then the segue into the space that Gregory Infinity vacated, we're happy to report that Tesla is renovating that space and they will be moving in shortly. So we're very happy to have a dealer like Tesla coming into our community and the positive impact that we believe it will have on future businesses coming in, as well as those patronizing our dining and restaurant businesses. And then moving forward in spring of 2022, we're anticipating construction of the Encompass Health Rehabilitation Hospital facility on Winchester and US Highway 45. And we're really happy that they're coming into the community. And we anticipate that this new medical facility, when it's completed in spring of 2022, will add and provide more jobs in our community. The estimate at this time are 90 new jobs. So we're very happy about those projects and developments that were completed moving forward. And we're just happy to say that that's consistent with the direction we're moving here at Libertyville. Carol, can you move to the next slide, please? And then in terms of our park master plan implementation, and that's one of the things we're real proud of here in Libertyville, because we have in-house is our parks program. It is led by a tremendous group of both trustees. Pete Byrne is the chair of that committee. Scott has also participated in that over the years. And our deputy village administrator, Ashley Engelman, has done a great job in moving forward with the recommendations of the 2018 Park Master Plan. And so what evidence of that is the annual playground replacements that we're implementing in phases. And the one that we're really proud of in terms of a gold standard is the beginning of this phased annual playground replacement is the Adler Playground that was completed in 2020. The pictorials are here on the screen of the slide. And that playground completion included a pour and play rubber surface, and then numerous slides, a play area for both 2 to 5 year olds and 5 to 12 year olds, saucer swing, zip line, climbing features, and ground level music play options. Also, what we're happy about too in terms of that project is we took advantage of written grants, and we were awarded a grant of $91,005 to help offset the purchase of the equipment. And so that is another thing that our staff is utilized in terms of tool moving forward. They have really exercised the opportunity, not just with the Parks Master Plan, but in other arenas, the ability to leverage grant writing. And we've been very successful in that effort, not just for parks. And so my hat's off to the staff for doing that. And then in terms of Charles Brown Playground and Green Tree Playground, that is part of the master plan, and that is scheduled for fiscal year 2021 and 2022. And then a subset of the master plan was recommending that our larger, more complicated projects, like the Nicholas Dowden, indicated that we needed to have a specialized master plan focused just on Nicholas Dowden. And that master plan will be completed in fiscal year 2021, 2022. So we're really happy about our ability to do that and do it effectively and still maintain the parks area with in-house with the Village of Libertyville. So that is another one of our benefits. Carol, you can move forward to the next slide. And then in terms of another thing that Heather has done a great job with in our economic area, and a local business that I would like to call out, Beeline. They've done a great job in collaborating and promoting in terms of marketing materials, shopping in Libertyville at 60048. It's a targeted marketing campaign. They've utilized social media. And of course, we all know during the times of COVID and over the past year, it was imperative that we utilize social media to connect with people because there was a lot of curbside dining. People were looking to see whether establishments were still open, whether they would allow for curbside dining, what the hours are, the service commands. So this shop 60048 in collaboration with a local business, Beeline, was really successful during COVID. And so we're just happy to have that kind of expertise in our backyard. We're happy that Heather's done such a great job of promoting it. And we know as we move out of this bridge stage, moving back to some normalcy in terms of dining in restaurants and patronizing our retail businesses, that this has been a very positive tool. So you can learn more in the dining guide or our website at libertyvilledining.com. And we appreciate your support. And we also appreciate supporting the surrounding communities as well. Carol, you can move on to the next slide. And then in terms of spring events that we're welcoming back, because I know we're all tired of being inside and we're tired of having to participate in all these events virtually. So one of our greatest assets in Libertyville is our partnership with Main Street. They've done a phenomenal job over the years. We would not be as advanced as we are in terms of the internal community and outside community without their partnership. So we're happy to support and report that they're phasing back into things that they're noted for this year outside. So the first Friday, monthly on First Friday is returning through Main Street, the farmer's market, through June and October of 2021 on Thursdays, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. That is returning. Car Fun on 21 and Lunch in the Park. Those are examples of things that people love that are returning. And the Twilight Shuffle, the 5K, is returning, and that will occur on September 5th, 2021. And then we're also happy that the Independence Day fireworks will occur this year on July 4th. We're happy to have that returning. The Dog Days of Summer is returning July 8th through the 11th. Our Festival of Arts is returning. So I know Amy's on the line, and I know she's happy to hear that that is happening. And then Libertyville Days, we're so happy to have that. It will not be occurring close to Father's Day as we traditionally know it, but we're happy that it's back, and that will be occurring in August 12th through the 15th. So I will tell you that between the support of the chamber and their activities, the support of the volunteerism in our community and Main Street, and all the efforts of our staff and our residents, my hat's off to, and I'm very fortunate to be inheriting such a good group in terms of summer events and fall events that are occurring in our community. And I appreciate that. And again, for all the residents on the line, we really thank you from our heart in terms of businesses that you patronize our dining businesses through this very difficult year. Move on to the next slide, Carol. And then in terms of communication tools, we recognize as we move forward into this new economic arena that we're in. And even though we're moving back to what we knew before, the one thing we recognize as a result of COVID is that people now are more accustomed to utilizing social media tools, going on websites to get information, accessing things through these tools. So we really need to be sensitive to the fact and enhance the ability for our residents, our business partners, and people that are interested in our community. We need to give them that access. And so we're proud to say that we have a variety of communication tools as evident here. We have a Facebook presence, an Instagram presence. Nextdoor is a communication tool that's used by our residents, and we are happy to have that. In fact, not as an elected official, but as a resident, I did my normal morning walk. There was a dog that was wandering around. He did not have any kind of labeling or anything on it. And so I was able to get him into a fence yard, and I used Nextdoor posting with the assistance of one of the other trustees to take a picture of the dog and to hopefully get him back to his rightful owners. And I'm happy to report it worked successfully. We found the dog at 9:30. The dog was back in the arms of its owners at 10:30. So these communication tools do work. And then we have the e-news and the village news. That is a tool that's worked very effectively for us. And Ashley, our deputy administrator, has done a fine job of ensuring that that village news is out timely and that it includes relevant information. The village website, I am working as part of my transition to overhaul that. It's been a good tool. There's a lot of dated information in it, and we want to upgrade that and move that forward into this year. So that is one of the things that I want to work on with staff, to have it overhauled and updated and enhance the things that we currently have on it. So we're working on that now. Public meetings is a great tool, but balancing safety and the fact that we have new trustees and people that are very actively involved in our community. We are maintaining the Zoom access for now, but we look forward to connecting with you in the public sometime early in the fall. We also utilize, at least Terry did a great job. I have not had the opportunity to utilize it yet, the Code Red feature in updating our residents and our businesses on important matters. We intend to do that, but we want to make sure that we balance not overuse and underuse, because it gets to a point where people sometimes will ignore things if they hear them too often. So we're going to walk that delicate balance in the use of the Code Red. LinkedIn presence and Twitter, we're happy to say that we're present in all of those arenas. So I think that overall our village has done a great job in moving into the technology arena, and we're happy to say that our residents can access us in that way. And then now, Carol, could you move on to the next slide? Well, we're at the end. So what I'd like to say is, I'm new at this, So we'll work out the kinks, but hopefully we were able to give you baseline successful information on what we were able to accomplish here in the village and remind you of those things that we continue to keep in place that are signature events for this village. I'd also like to say at this time, I want to thank the chamber. I want to thank Scott and Carol for their support and their continued involvement in providing this Ask Your Mayor event. We are really happy that we have a chamber that partners with us and gives you access to public officials in a collaborative way. So we're all working together. And I just wanted to reiterate to each one of the mayors on the Zoom here, is that I really am in the mode to want to learn. And there's nothing better than avoiding reinventing the wheel when you move into an arena where people have done something successfully. And clearly each one of you have done these things successfully. So I would love to learn from each one of you. So I hope you'll reach out to me. I definitely plan to reach out to each one of you to have coffee. And the reality is, while we have individual needs in each one of our communities, Lake County is our home. We want it to thrive. We want it to continue to thrive. And so I just appreciate the collaboration from Vernon Hills, Mundelein, and Green Oaks, and I hope we will continue that way. And I want you to know that that's one of the things I would like for us to continue. So thank you very much. And then I guess we'll do the Q&A at the end, Scott. Is that
Yeah,
what
we'll
we're
do it
doing?
at the end.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank
Donna.
you.
No, thanks, Donna. Great presentation. It's great to see all the good stuff going on in Libertyville. Like just and welcome as our newest mayor of our 4 villages. So thanks again for all that you do, and look forward to working with you the next 4 years.
Thank you.
Our next mayor is Mayor Steve Lentz. And Mayor, we'll turn it over to you, and congratulations on being reelected. We're very happy for you on that. Would love to hear more about what's going on in Mundelein.
All right, let's see if we can share my screen here. Can you see that okay?
Yeah, what's up?
Perfect. All right, then let me go and make a slideshow of it. See if that works. There we go. And let's put that there. All right, here we go. Thanks, everyone. Scott, Carol, thanks for having me again. I appreciate it. I think it was Steve at the beginning from Northwestern Mutual, Steve Kopala, and mentioned baseball and the banter that Terry and I always had. You know what? I began to put together a slide on baseball and on the high school baseball rivalry between Mundelein and Libertyville, and we've talked about it each time, it seems. But then I realized Mundelein lost to Libertyville twice. So that kind of went the wayside. Although I must say that Mundelein is still ranked at number 20 and Libertyville is at 46 in the state rankings. Right.
Oh,
Very
jab,
good. Very
jab,
good,
Steve.
Appreciate that.
Steve, I'm going to come up. Steve, I'm going to come up to speed on the high school baseball. I do know sports very well, so the next time we regroup, I'll be up to speed.
Absolutely, I look forward to that. We have a great travel baseball community in Lake County here. Lots of strong teams, and right now it looks like Libertyville has a few pitchers that have Mundelein's number. Anyway, we'll see if they go to playoffs and meet each other. That would be fun. I want to give a shout out. We've had some similar transition in terms of some leadership. So we have 3 new trustees, Jenny Ross and Tim Wilson. They were both logged in here. And Sol Cabachuela is another elected trustee. She's our former clerk. And our new clerk is Karen Walsh, and I believe she's logged in here as well. Since we met last time, we also have a new village administrator, Eric Gunther. He is our former police chief. And our new police chief now is John Monahan. So since we met last year, we've had quite a bit of change in terms of trustees, elected officials, and the leadership in the village. And so we just welcome those 3 new trustees and Eric and Chief Monahan as well. My approach today is a little bit different. I just want to answer the question, what's new in Mundelein? I'm not going to do a flyover as much as I want to explain more clearly just a few important changes that we've seen in town and explain those, and hopefully you'll come away with an appreciation for a lot of the effort on the part of our leadership and especially our village staff. They've just been outstanding. And so there's a few things, let's see if I can go down. I want to talk about just 3 new things in town. We have some serious flood mitigation work that's wrapping up right now. And I explained some of it last year, but I want to wrap this up and kind of show you the details and just the incredible accomplishment that we are, doing right now. This also includes a new public works facility in town that was just completed since we were together this time last year. And we are experiencing a Park Street great success with outdoor dining, and we're doing a seasonal Park Street closure. I'll explain that to you as well, and then go over some events at the very end. Let's talk about the flood mitigation work going on in town. Let's see here. There we go. And this was just a nasty picture taken on the morning of July 12th, 2017. And I think most of us remember that day, an incredible rain event. Something like 9 inches in 7 hours or something like that came down in the region here. And this is a picture right in the middle of our town, and running left to right near the bottom of the screen is Route 45. We're looking east here, and that's Route 45, and then Division Street is running up the middle of the screen. And we had water there that was 3 feet deep. And the folks in the bottom left corner in that apartment complex had to be evacuated using a rubber raft. It was just awful. And that's a senior apartment complex down there. And so within about 30 days, our board authorized money to be invested in a study to figure out how this could have happened and what could be done about it. And so we know that many decades ago, there was a similar issue, and we just wanted to tackle this thing because this is right smack dab in the middle of our town, and there was a strong determination to take care of this thing. And so we, within a year, we had a plan in place to figure this out and to pay for the work that needed to be done. Similarly, we used a stormwater service fee as part of the income that was needed to pay for the bonds that went into this. But I'll just explain the problem a little bit when you look at a map here. If you go to the left side of the screen, you'll see Highway 45 running north-south. And everything to the left of that, you see the various blue regions and little red dots and everything. And so everything to the west of Highway 45, that's where water was collecting and trying to drain into the state highways stormwater system on Highway 45. But the problem is that hole getting all that water into that state stormwater system was just too small. And so then the water backed up to the west and then overflowed into the Highway 45 and into the other side of the street. And we had huge flooding in town. So how to fix this? Well, we had to increase these stormwater pipes to the west of 45 on the left. And that included putting in 72-inch stormwater pipes underground to collect more water quickly that way. And then where does all this water go? Well, it's going to have to run somewhere. And so instead of tying it into the state stormwater system, we bypassed it. The plan is to, and we're doing this now, bypassing the state stormwater system on 45, going underneath that road and taking it to the bottom right of the screen, where you see in blue the detention pond that's highlighted in blue there. And so what we did last year is we did the stormwater pipes to the west of 45, got that neighborhood all taken care of. On the right of the screen, we had to dig out this detention pond, and it's about an 8-acre site of a detention pond there. It's huge, right in the middle of town. So how did we get this land? Well, if you look just north of that in the area shaded in yellow, gold right there, that is our old public works facility. And so what we did is we swapped our public works facility with the owner of that former guitar factory where the blue is. We swapped land so that they could develop the gold region, our public works facility, and they're going to tie it into that shaded region to the bottom right and with the diagonal lines there. They're going to build apartments and townhomes in those 2 pieces of land. And they gladly gave us the guitar factory and swapped it for the public works facility. Now I say gladly, but that's a very quick way of making a very, very long story with complex negotiations very, very short. But that's what we did. We did a land swap. We took the guitar factory, we demolished it, we dug a big hole there. And what's going on right now is that we are connecting all that work to the left with the detention pond on the right. And what that means is that Highway 45 right now is closed to just 2 lanes, 1 going in each direction. So we have 4 lanes going down to 2, 1 in each direction. We're keeping 45 open this whole time, but they're having to dig a huge culvert underneath 45. And that means open cutting for Highway 45 right in the middle of town. And we're ahead of schedule. It should be done in I'll say several weeks yet. It was a months-long project to get done, and I understand we're ahead of schedule, but it's very disruptive. But once this is finished, all that water to the left of 45 to the west will be able to go into that detention pond on the right, and then these flooding issues will then be solved. And so we're very excited about this. And let me show you a few pictures here of this whole project. One thing to note is this is our old public works facility is located just a block south of our train station. So we've known for a while we would want to get rid of the public works facility and move elsewhere because this is very developable land right near the train station within walking distance. So just keep that in mind. Now let me figure out how to move down. Here we go. So this is me last year standing in front of these pipes, these 72-inch pipes that got buried underneath Division Street. And huge project. You can see how much water that can collect, just to give you a sense of scale here. Let's see here. Click. Here's the old guitar factory, which we acquired so that we could demolish it and then dig a big hole in the ground for that detention pond. Let's see. Okay. And here's a picture looking west. All right, and we're looking west over the whole site, and you can see that level pad. If you can see my mouse going over this right here, that's where the guitar factory used to be, and we dug this big hole there, and surrounding it, our public works facility is to the right, and that all has been given over to the developer that's going to demolish those buildings and develop that, because they just walk a block to the north, to the right, up to the train station. And so all this work has happened, and now what we're seeing, if I click, this is a picture of that guitar factory site, which was leveled, demolished, and now we have this detention pond all ready to be connected up with all the flood work to the west of Division Street, of 45, along Division and that whole region of town there. So the water will channel into this detention pond, and we intend to plant some nice plants there that would be attractive to butterflies, and we would consider this a very large butterfly preserve eventually one day. That's the vision for this, is that it would have a walking path all around this, and we would have a huge amount of plants attractive to butterflies, and hopefully that'll be an attraction to Lake County one day. That's the goal here. So we're excited about this getting finished. It's been years in the making, and let's see, what's the next slide here? I just want to, okay. So all this leads to the question though, what about that public works facility that we gave up? And so congruently with all this work being done, we had to have a place for our public works department to go. And so what we did, and we knew we wanted to do this a while back. And so here's a map of the site that we settled on years ago that we would eventually move to. And so this is Allenson Road. Of course, Butterfield is further to the east, to the right. And so, and then Highway 45 is to the left of this picture, to the west. And so you can see Allenson there. And so back in 2013, knowing that we would one day want to vacate our public works facility, this bit of vacant land accessible off Allenson was purchased by the village with an eye towards the future. We purchased it from a developer that was going to cease their project due to the Great Recession, and prices came down and it was very affordable for the village to pick up. And then right when all this, right after the flood occurred in 2017, the Natus building came up for sale. And that's the building, just you can see where the arrow's pointing to it. It used to be the old biologic building. And so that came up for sale, and the village purchased it because the idea is that we would use that building as part of our public works facility and save some money on the construction cost. And so that's what we did. We purchased that Natus building, and we had to redesign what we were going to do on that vacant lot to include this building. And it ended up saving us a lot, at least $1 million in construction costs, to have that existing building already there that we simply added on to. And so let me show you a picture of what it looks like now from this aerial. And there it is. You could see we added on to that Natus building, and we completely renovated the inside, and we added on a complete facility with a big storage bin at the very south side. You can see with the red roof. We wrapped in all our departments into this, except of course the wastewater treatment plant. But before we were on 4 sites, and now we're on just 2. And so our maintenance department is now folded into this. Our water department is now folded into this, and lots of storage. And this is going to take us, of course, many, many decades into the future now. It's a fully modern public works facility right off Allenson there. And we're just excited to have that project completed. And what's incredible, here's the other site or the other picture. There we go. And that's an aerial, a drone shot looking over it. We're hovering right over Allenson, I guess, looking south right here. What's incredible to me is just all the moving parts came together at the exact same time. We were able to accomplish this public works facility without having any adverse effect on to the taxpayers, because we had bonding capacity, come up. We were waiting for really 15 years or so to do this project. We knew we wanted to vacate our public works facility. And just at the time that our bonding capacity increased dramatically to allow us to do this is the same time that we had to vacate the old public works facility, because we had to have that flood mitigation detention pond. And it's just very coincidental and very providential in my mind that all this, that our bonding capacity opened up right at the perfect time for us to be able to do this, vacate the site, and allow our flooding issues to be solved in the middle of town like this. So this is open. It's been open for several months now, and we're just excited that this project was done and on time. All right, so that's a big deal for us. I want to touch on something going on in town with the COVID crisis. We all discovered, outdoor dining became really a thing for everybody. And particularly in Mundelein, we have an area of town at the intersection of Route 45, Highway 45 and Park Street. There's a few restaurants in there and a coffee shop. And by closing off Park Street at 45, it allowed the restaurants to then come over and take over the entire right of way and put up tables. And that's what you're seeing here is the picture, an aerial shot in the middle of summer last year, where the restaurants put up tables. They had sun umbrellas out there. And in this particular evening, if you look at the top of the picture with the blue lights, what the folks did, and particularly the coffee shop would run these open mic nights with live music. And this turned out to be just hugely popular in Mundelein. On the weekends, if the weather's good, on a Friday or Saturday night, this place is packed. People would bring out lawn chairs and put them on the sidewalk to the right of the screen there, all on the sidewalk. You'd have people sitting there listening to the concerts going on, the live music, perhaps ordering drinks from the restaurants on the left side of the screen there. And so it was so popular, we coordinated with the restaurants, and what we're doing now is a seasonal closure of Park Street. So every year, the plan is for every year right around May 1st, something like that, We're going to close Park Street at 45 all the way until the weather starts to change, late October, early November, something like that. And we're going to begin to invest some public money in some enhancements in this area. There are a few vacancies in the area. We're hoping other businesses will come in and take advantage of this. Here's a few artists' renderings of what we're planning on doing. Perhaps one day we'll have an overhead there, kind of showing where it's this gathering, this destination spot is in Mundelein. We've ordered the better looking barricades that you see there at the bottom, barricading the traffic from getting in there, rather than having the kind of the unsightly normal ones you see with the orange and the orange barricades. We've ordered these, and these will arrive very soon, and we'll install these this year. But there's other plans as well to enhance this area. The village acquired a tiny lot in there for public use, and we have plans in terms of parking enhancements, burying some of the utility lines, and really going after making this a real destination point in our downtown. So we're excited about this. Here's another picture from the other side looking. You can see there's 2 restaurants and a coffee shop near the mural. And it's a very popular spot in town, and we only look for this to grow in popularity and even in scope and size one day moving forward in the future here. And then finally, I want to touch on our community days and events. This has been kind of a big question, what are events going to look like? And so fortunately, we've had some good guidance coming down from the state. We're going to have our community days. We're going to do it July 3rd through the 5th, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's going from 4 days down to 3, but we acquired the liquor license from the state. We're going to sell beer to help pay for all this, and we're moving forward. We'll have fireworks on Sunday the 4th, and our parade will be on Monday, July 5th. So we're moving forward with this event. We're very excited about it, and thankfully it's all coming to place where we can do this, and we got approvals and everything. So we're going to move forward and have the bands come in and everything here. 2 other events. We're having our full array of events. The only thing that's been canceled is our craft beer festival will not occur. That's the only thing that was canceled. But 2 other events I want to point out. Everything else is a go. Two events I want to point out besides community days, our Park on Park event. That's on the 2nd Wednesday of the month. And on a beautiful day like what you're seeing pictured here, we'll have upwards of 400 to 500 cars, classic cars, come to town. And on the 2nd Wednesday of the month, if it's good weather and on a beautiful day, you're going to get hundreds and hundreds of classic cars coming out. And it's just a fantastic event. And there's 5 of them planned, 1 each month, 2nd Wednesday of the month. So I wanted to make sure everyone knew about that, because it's just a huge event on a beautiful day. It's a wonderful way to spend a late afternoon, evening. And finally, we have a brand new event starting up. And this will be hopefully the first annual. We'll see how this goes. But on Saturday, July 19th, we're going to have a bicycle race. Actually, it's a lot of races, but the course is set up right in the middle of our downtown, coming right past Village Hall down there on the south side of this red course you see here. But it's called the Intelligentsia series of bicycle races. This will be the Mundelein Grand Prix, and we are host site for this particular event on the July 19th. There'll be nonstop racing with both professionals and amateurs from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. all day. It draws elite racers from all across the country and even internationally. And there'll be music and vendors, children's activities, a beer garden, and a lot more. So we're looking forward to this. This will be the first one, and we're excited about this event to just kick off. And who knows, hopefully it'll become an annual event for us. We're excited to see what this brings, and it'll be fun to watch the professionals showing up and seeing a professional bicycle race. So that is it for me. Thanks so much, you guys, for having me here again. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve. It's great to see what's going on in Mundelein, and thanks for your partnership with the chamber. We really appreciate all that you do. You and your staff are tremendous support for us. We really appreciate that. Last but not least, I'm going to call upon our good friend, Mayor Roger Byrne, who's serving another term in the village of Vernon Hills. Congratulations, Roger, on your reelection. We're really happy for that. And I'll turn the presentation over to you.
Okay. Well, Scott, thanks. We're here. You know, maybe next year we'll all be, you know, face to face and, you know, shaking hands if we can. So I would like to personally congratulate Donna Johnson on being the mayor of Libertyville. And her and I have known each other for quite a while. I don't know how long, but maybe you do. But if you don't want to say it, that's okay.
Well, you know what, Bernie? I just love the warm welcome from you, and I always love your candor and directness. I really do. So, you know, it served you very, very well. And I'm glad to know that your health is doing good and that you're here. And so I'm just happy to be a part of this group.
Yeah, well, welcome. And not that you weren't before. How long were you a trustee?
14 years.
Yeah, so you know the drill. I mean, you're not coming into this as a neophyte.
You give me too much credit.
No. You're good. You're a good person. And Steve, it's nice to see you. You know, this election wasn't as close as the one before, right? Can you talk? No.
No, it was you know, instead of it being just a 5-vote margin, it was something much, you know, hundreds more than that. So
Yeah.
I'm very grateful.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and then Bernie, congratulations. I think you ran again, didn't you, this year? Okay. Bernie's gone. I'm sorry.
Bernie did run again this year and he was unopposed.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You know?
It's like yourself. Congratulations.
Yeah, I wasn't unopposed though.
Well, it seems like it would be unopposed because you always win.
Yeah, well, always is. That's thank
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah,
And I had no doubt.
All right. Well, I'm supposed to give everybody updates, right? We're easing into the post-pandemic process. Obviously, the screen's up there, what we're doing and what we've been doing, and what we will continue to do. We're trying to help out the non-corporate restaurants and with their fees and sales tax, and also the food and beverage tax, as far as trying to relax that and put some of that money back in the restaurateurs' pockets. So we have like everybody else, we're opening up, and that's just good for all of us. And hopefully more and more people get their shots. I mean, they obviously are readily available, but in all honesty, it's very, I guess, somewhat calming to find out that the children are going to get the shots. I mean, everybody's got kids or grandkids, and that in my opinion is extremely important, because you don't want to have lingering lung issues or heart issues with one of your children. So anyway, we'll keep moving there. What else we got here? Let's see. Oh, we're gonna have the fireworks. We're not having the parade. We're not even having the face painting and entertainment at Big Bear Lake this year. And obviously, we hope that is all different next year. We will, be in support with the Park District if they're, I think they're still doing their Rib Fest. And in that instance there, that's a little bit easier to control the number of people there, because, they charge to get in, where with our summer celebration, there was tens of thousands of people that would, come in and out, and it was just a much bigger, event and more, more, logistics involved to keep everybody safe. So, what else we got here? Yeah, well, yeah, that was all the good news. Let's see. We continue to support local business with shopping and dining guides, outreach, and communication. Yeah, John Petrillo and Christian Svensson have gone out and interviewed, I guess dozens of, especially restaurateurs, and we've been kind of plugging them on, the YouTube and what other sites, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and hopefully, that it's helped, before we can really go in and, all sit down and enjoy a meal, which I think we're getting, real close. So with that said, we have dining logo boards with a QR codes at the Vernon Hills Athletic Complex to help support local businesses. And apparently we're going to have, we're going to have lacrosse and soccer this summer up there. And, we'll see how that works out. I don't think they start though till when? Memorial Day weekend. So hopefully everybody gets their shots, to say the least. But it's a big enough area. I think we can, keep good separation. Okay. So we have some leadership changes. Everybody, we had a challenger for trustee and for village president and mayor. Trustee Mike Shank is a new village trustee, and he's a solid guy, and I'm sure he'll be, a valued member of the board. Jim Schultz retired. He decided to not run for re-election. So now he can really get dual citizenship. He's got a place up around Boulder Junction, so he can become, a cheesehead and a flatlander. So in any event, Jim will be missed. Jim did a great job, and I don't know what was he, 16 years? 16 years. Yeah, 16 years. So, but he'll still be around, and I'm sure I'll hear from him, and so will the board members. We do have a very experienced group of trustees. Nancy Foster, who ran unopposed for the remaining 2 years of her seat, because I had to appoint her. Tom Cook, Mike Marquardt, Dr. David Oppenheim, Craig Takioka, and now Mike Shank. And I've lost track how many years I've been village president, so I'm not going to dwell on that. The village welcomes a new village manager, Kevin Timoney, and he's coming from Wakanda, and he'll be replacing our respected village manager and past chief of police, Mark Fleschauer. Mark was called into action when there was some changes at the management levels. What was it, 3 year ago?
Yeah, 3.5.
3.5 years ago. So, and Mark's done a yeoman's job, and I can't thank him enough. And so, what am I missing here?
Next slide.
Yeah, next slide. Okay. I did tell Mark earlier, no, they only have been John Petrillo, I said something to the extent that, he's brought new meaning to the word average. Does anybody see any humor in that, I hope? John is a respected past deputy chief of the village of Vernon Hills. And in essence, he came when Mark came, and he got caught up in the the politics of the Lake County Sheriff's Department, because the new sheriff is a Democrat, so on and so forth. And that happens. So anyway, now was it right? Oh, okay. The water reservoir, we in cooperation with Mayor Lentz and his staff, the 2 million gallon new reservoir and pump house will go on the existing White Deer Run property. And it's actually, I think it's actually where there used to be the drying beds, where the good old BOD goes for before it goes to the sanitary sewage treatment plant. And I think that's isn't it a 5-acre site? I think it is. So, that's good for, I think, all of us, because, this is going to be a great location for Lake Michigan water. So, of course, summer rehab, we now do collaboration with Libertyville and Mundelein, to actually let a paving contract. And I think, it's working okay, and and I hope we're all saving money. And then White Deer Run Golf Course, they actually, the Plody companies, the road builder, Ray Plody, who did all the leasehold improvements going back to the late 90s. And the contract is now being taken over by Heritage Golf Group. And I don't think we're going to, miss a beat there. But White Deer Run, was a nice project that, in all honesty, all the land was donated by the Cuneo Trust and John Cuneo. And Plody did, all the build outs, and we didn't have to bond anything out or make any cash contributions. Okay. So it turned out to be a wonderful amenity for the whole town. So, and then we're working on our diversity and inclusion study with Dr. Brian Watkins. I'm sure we'll have a report maybe at this summer, and then that'll be incorporated, into our employee, handbooks and training of all our employees, and of course the police department. Yeah, which is the right thing to do, and we're doing it, and we'll implement the recommendations from the good doctor. So incentive agreement. Oh yeah, Hawthorne Mall. Here we go. This one's a big project, and I'm happy that they're going forward, and I think it's good for the whole area that the mall isn't going to turn into a huge white elephant, or a what do they call them now? An Amazon distribution center. And so, with that said, this is a pay-as-you-go TIF. This over the 3 stages of the project. The owner is going to spend upwards of $250 million. I think the first phase, isn't that about was it $100 million, the first phase?
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah, I think the first, and that'll involve a great deal of work where the old Sears store was, and there'll be almost like a main street created, and of course there'll be residential housing, high-end apartments, and 300 of them. And anyway, we're happy that the agreement has been consummated, and we've all signed off on it. Oh yeah, well here it is, right? 38 million eligible at completion of phase 1. Well, that's our payback is. What's the next page? Maybe it's on there. Don't have it. Okay. Yeah, well, okay, 250 million, east side will become main entrance. Anyway, I want to say what are we, north of $50 million we're gonna rebate in sales tax and real estate tax.
Right at 50.
Right. And but the pay as you go is all you find, elected representatives and probably businessmen realize we're not floating any bonds at all, which is different than our two previous tax increment districts where we did, have to underwrite a great deal of those projects with, our bonding. So in any event, what's the next page? You got it? Okay. What are you doing? Oh,
New development is where we're at.
this one?
Yep.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Everly Apartment Homes, 55 and older, or over, I don't know which is proper, on the site of the former AMC Theater behind Jason's Deli. That was show place, and demolition's nearly complete, planning for 188 residencies. What's interesting here is, there's going to be duplexes, which obviously will be all first floor. And anyway, that's I think going to be a very nice project. Excuse me. South Lake Industrial Center is nearly complete. What is it? The same developer, I think, that is doing work in Mundelein. What is it? Panantoni?
Yes.
Yeah, Panantoni, which Mayor Lentz had mentioned earlier. And, sometimes, you got to pinch me with some of this stuff that these buildings that they're building are on speculation, which, that's a word that hasn't been in our vocabulary much of late, okay? And then there's Binny's is coming and a liquor barn. And Binny's is going into the old Hobby Lobby, and the liquor barn's going to what used to be Hawthorne Fashion, Center. What am I leaving out here? And Melody Farms, they're getting darn close to a build out, which so,
D73, next page.
oh, okay, yeah. And then, of course, everybody has, schools to support. I don't care what town you're in. I mean, 70% of your tax bill goes to the education of our children. And Hawthorne District 73, he had a successful referendum, and they're going to do, a lot of STEM, might even be STEAM improvements to various buildings, almost all buildings throughout the district. And we now have a new kindergarten, which is attached to the Vernon Hills Park District main facility. And that's, was that open in September?
Yeah, it opened this last September.
Oh,
It's been open.
So it's been open a year?
Yes.
Okay. Of course, I don't know how many of the kids were going the whole year, other than Zooming, which had to be exciting with kindergartners. With that said, Middle North, there's an addition. This whole referendum, I think, was $48 million to improve the schools. And one thing, good about what they're doing at Hawthorne, I mean, there's students coming from Libertyville, Mundelein. Mundelein, I think, sends about 1,100 children to District 73. I think from Libertyville, there's about 300. And, it takes in parts of, I want to say it's almost 10 communities. So, in any event, so the mall is a good thing to help underwrite, the education of our children, because the whole mall is in District 73. So Okay, and then we go to District 128, which is Vernon Hills High School, and obviously 128 is Libertyville High School. Vernon Hills High School, bankrolled a $26 million project, which is almost completed. Classrooms, gym, dance studios, cafeteria. Best wishes to Superintendent Prentice Lee as he prepares to retire. Welcome new Superintendent Denise Herman. So, okay, that's the news on the high school. Fortunately, the high schools are well funded, and I want to say, Vernon Hills High School, they didn't have to go to referendum, for that $26 million improvement. So, Byrne Hills Park District partnership with schools, they're happy now that they've forged an agreement with District 73 over this kindergarten building, which will house I think it's 375 children. So then the Park District in partnership with the village, we partnered with them and the guys that run Lacrosse America, our soccer association, to actually do new turf soccer and lacrosse fields, which provide 3-season plays, supports all of our athletes and communities. And what was that, a $1.6 million
Yes, sir.
bond that we issued, but we're going to get reimbursed, I think, a great deal of it, upwards of $900,000 from Lacrosse America, and what is Park District, what threw in 250, 300, and then the Soccer Association 80. But anyway, those are fields that I would think kids from a bunch of different communities will actually get to use that facility, which is obviously all part of the Nike site, which was the government access property of 165 acres. So with that said, am I done? I'm looking at my notes here, but.
Talk about the 500 teams are getting ready to come and the benefit.
Oh, is this, okay. Well, staying positive. Yeah, that's been a task for all of us. Beautiful Vernon Hills. I don't know what we're showing here as a picture. We got a recycle orama, that's beautiful, right? Getting rid of your old TV. Experience Vernon Hills, working in partnership for the good of all. Bottom line is that, there's between Mundelein and Libertyville and, Green Oaks, there's all types of reciprocal agreements in place between the fire departments, the public works, and obviously the police departments and such. And that's a great thing. And, if somebody needs help in another town, we all pitch in collectively. And other than that, okay. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, we'll have, about 500 teams and their families will visit our area for summer tournaments and camps. With that said, like to also congratulate the Vernon Hills Park District for being named finalists for the 2021 National Gold Medal Award. And one thing that, I know our mayors of all the towns, Mundelein and Libertyville and Green Oaks, where you're in the process and doing a commendable job of getting rid of, excess stormwater, which is a huge challenge. And your communities are obviously significantly older than Vernon Hills. So, the retention ponds in any of our communities are extremely important to prevent flooding to our businesses or to our homes. In fact, in town, I think we have just shy of 40 detention ponds. And, you know, with that said, being the younger town, okay, that happened because of, you know, I'm sure lessons learned, you know, across the board. So anyway, that one is important. And, you know, if we could be of any assistance in any way, shape, or form on that, you know, our Public Works Director, Dave Brown, is a very, very competent guy, and, you know, is involved at the county level and so on and so forth. Other than that, you know, let's have a happy new year, and let's all be healthy and, you know, get this COVID behind us. So, and get the kids vaccinated, get the adults vaccinated, and let's do the right thing. So, well, anyway, thank you very much. It was, you know, nice being here and talking to everybody. And okay, I'll see you later.
Thanks, Roger. Appreciate it. A lot of good stuff going on in Vernon Hills, and I can't tell you the partnership we've had with you guys has been great. You know, working with Mark and working with John and Kristen has been a real pleasure. So I would really appreciate all the help that you've given to us. I'm going to turn it over to Mitch Bienvenue from the SBDC up at CLC. I give Mitch a few minutes to talk about some of the things that they've done. As I mentioned earlier, the SBDC and Mitch have been tremendous support for not only the chamber, but for the businesses in our area because of everything that was going on last year. They jumped in and made some programs that are available that have really helped out a lot of businesses. That's the place where we get a new member or a business or a member that's struggling. We send them to the SBDC because of the resources that they've got. So Mitch, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Scott, and thank you everybody for giving me a couple of minutes here. Basically, I just want to send out a reminder that we do have quite a lot of resources that our small businesses can use to innovate. I know a lot of businesses are still trying to figure out how they can replace lost revenue streams. To, you know, if there are changes happening, like you want to hire a bunch of employees or you want to start a new product or service line and you're wondering what the financial implications are of that, we've got people and programs to help you make those kinds of decisions. And so there's really three categories of solutions that we offer. The first one is advising. So I've got a CFO, Chief Financial Officer advisor, who can help you think through things like those implications, financial implications of bringing on employees, buying a new business, and a number of other things. Just you know, kind of doing the numbers and so that you can step into those decisions in an informed manner. I've got marketing experts who can help you think through how it is you can appeal to your target market, and many, many others, commercial lending experts, accounting experts, et cetera, et cetera. So take advantage of those. I put in the chat box our email address and our website address and our phone number. And if you are interested in any of the advising that I just mentioned, or any of the training that we offer, and as Scott said, we've relied pretty heavily upon our chambers, and Scott and Carol have been great at letting us know what they think you all need. And then we've done our best to go either create or source those programs. And we are always offering something. And I think as a small business owner, having been one myself for 17 years, I know that you always have to be a student. And so, you know, take advantage of not only the advising, but the training. And you can find out what that is just by going to our website. Everything at this point is no cost. We got a lot of CARES Act money and we invested it heavily in our small businesses, in the advising and the training. And then the third thing is tools. And then I'll stop talking after that. So we've got a new digital platform called BizHub that basically makes it easier for our businesses to connect up with all the different kinds of resource providers that are in Lake County, the accountants, the tax preparers, the business attorneys, marketing experts. Any B2B resource is going to be in that platform. And it's just an easier way for our businesses to find those resources and, you know, get connected up and work together. So that's one. And the second one I'll mention is a new training platform. So if you are interested in training your employees, One of the things that we learned during coronavirus is we had to do a lot virtually, right? And I know everybody to some degree is probably sick of that. I know I'm ready to move on and do stuff in person. But I think going forward, virtual training is still going to be an important thing. And we've got a platform that will enable you to train your employees. It's high quality, low cost, quick delivery, on-time delivery training from this platform called TAD. And so if you're interested in that, once again, no cost, completely no cost to use that platform. And for the first year, and then after the first year, there is a cost and you have to decide whether or not you want to bear that. But it's something on the order of $1 per employee per month. So for a 20 person employee. So if you have 20 people in your company, you're paying something on the order of $200 a year to use this platform. So it's very, very cost effective. And so those are the three things I'll mention: advising, training, and tools. A lot of it available. Take advantage of it. Our information's in the chat box. Give us a call, send us an email, and we'll do our best to help you out. Thank you.
Thanks, Mitch. Appreciate it. Always great to hear your updates. Well, Carol, I know we've got some questions. How do you want to go through those? I know there's probably some of them that are redundant, but there
Right.
some that you want to go through?
Yeah, we've got a couple questions here. And the first one is, I guess, for mayors along the routes 176, 21, 60, and 45. Are there plans for on-road arteries on those routes and Butterfield, as an example, to have increased striping, flex bollards, and delineation to make it safer for cyclists to commute and ride through and connect our villages? Drive less, cycle more.
Well, I can tell you, I can say that, I don't know, I'm not unmuted, Carol.
No, you're all right.
Okay, I couldn't tell. I will tell you that we have a bicycle committee with the village of Libertyville, and one of the things that is currently discussed at that, in collaboration with Lake County and other areas, are the striping and marking and things like that that makes it safer to bike ride. And so we're looking into that in general. Every ancillary road that you reference is not necessarily contemplated by us because we don't have control over it, but we are looking into that issue because the task of that bicycle committee is to determine safe ways that we can commute and share the road. Now, be mindful of the fact that a lot of these roads are very narrow when you have parking on both sides. And so some of those aren't really suited for us to do the road sharing, but for those areas where it's safe to do so, we are looking at those striping issues and within balancing costs, because some of the striping is very expensive depending on what materials you use, and others are more reasonable. We did a outreach to Evanston, who's done something like this, and we got feedback from them. So that is something that we're exploring. And of course, we would share that with our neighboring communities, the results of that.
Okay. Thank you, Donna. Do the 4 municipalities collaborate on meeting MS4 requirements, which is National Permit Discharge Elimination System, Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System? Do you collaborate on those programs?
Well, we all have storm sewers that we personally maintain and repair and replace. And I'll yield to the experts here, Mayor Johnson and Mayor Lentz.
Well, go ahead. You can handle it, Steve.
I don't think we're not collaborating together more than just coordinating with the Lake County stormwater folks. The requirements did go up quite a bit recently, and so due to climate change and everything, and so everyone's kind of looking to them for leadership in that area. But in terms of village to village collaboration, I don't think we are, as much as we're all kind of looking at the county with kind of the guidelines that they've issued.
I would agree with that.
We know Bernie Wysocki is on the board with stormwater management. So like you say, we are all working.
I mean, when you go back in time, that Foxconn was, that they were building up in Kenosha was a major concern. And as far as whether it was water that would hit the Des Plaines River or even the Fox River, but now I believe, haven't they significantly downsized that whole project? You know,
Yeah.
which, you know, so be it, but you know, that was I used to be an alternate for the stormwater management agency, and yeah, they were looking at that long and hard, and as they do, you know, any flooding issues, you know, within Lake County, but you know, some of the water issues, you know, come from other states, in this instance, Wisconsin, you know, so, but anyway, that's all I got on this one, you know.
Mhm. I saw that the question was in the chat room, and I saw who presented the question to us. I think that, you know, my other peer group, the mayors, have given you the 80,000 feet response to what we're doing. I'm not going to even profess to be familiar with what the MS4 requirements are, even though in the chat room you gave definition to it. But what I would tell you is that based on our in-depth information that we received from the consultants, as well as our own due diligence, that we're doing the best we can to utilize resources. And so in terms of how far we meet these requirements, I don't know, but I'd be happy to look into it and follow back up with you. I took your name down so I could see it in the chat room. That's the best I can do.
Well,
Awesome.
yeah. Anyway, Canaflex is a you know, a manufacturer of all kinds of pipe, and I think is it actually not? Is it a plastic?
A liner, it's gonna go through, yeah.
No. Canaflex.
Yeah, it's plastic.
Yeah, but it's incredibly durable and long lasting, and they're in the process. This is just talking about the cost of, you know, your stormwater, you know, repairs and replacement. Where, you know, let's figure what a concrete, you know, pipe lasts. I don't know. Does it last 20 years? Does it last 25 years? Well, this Canaflex product, you know, it actually doubles the you know, life expectancy of your stormwater sewer systems, and there's resistance. You know, can you imagine that down in Springfield? You know, because of obviously the concrete people that make big pipes. So, but Canaflex is you know, a very dynamic company, and they do business all over the country, all over the world. So I'm just saying, for going forward, maybe that would help save all the municipalities and governments a considerable amount of money going forward. So
Thank you.
I'm done with sewers. Okay.
All right. In the towns that have encouraged and allowed expanded outdoor dining, are there any plans to allow those to continue past the COVID emergency?
I know we're working on that right now, so that when the governor's orders get lifted, or his emergency status gets lifted, then that means that all of our executive orders technically get lifted as well. And in our case, it was executive orders from me that allowed some of these outdoor dining rules, you know, selling of liquor on a takeout basis, et cetera. So our staff is working on that right now, so that when that happens within, you know, well, really immediately after that, we will be taking action to codify more some of the things that we definitely want to keep from all of this.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Steve. One more for you, Steve, Mayor Lentz. Can you talk about the status of the old Menards property in Mundelein?
Sure. So that's on Route 60. It's called Oak Creek Plaza. And we had a study done on that whole region a few years ago, and they came back with the notion that that whole thing should be demolished and turned into residential housing. And so we are in discussions, very advanced discussions with one developer to put residential housing there, which will replace most, you know, certainly the old Menards and everything attached to that. The trampoline place would stay, as would the outbuildings, you know, PETA Inn, et cetera. But no, that's the current plans, and we're in advanced discussions with one residential developer right now for that to happen.
Can I ask Mayor Lentz a question on that? Do you know the school districts that'll be impacted by that?
Yeah, so that's Stevenson High School District,
Yeah,
and 76
Diamond Lake.
Diamond Lake, correct.
Okay. And now has the village of Mundelein adopted a developer donation system per house, per bedroom?
No, we do not have an ordinance in place defining what those are. And so that's just been our stance all along. We asked the developer to meet with the schools and come up with an agreement, but we do not have anything codified in place in terms of an ordinance.
Yeah, but
defining-
Mayor, this goes back to discussions even with Marilyn Sindels. I mean, in all honesty, you guys controlled the zoning, and you could, really, I guess, squeeze the developers, for more dollars for the schools. That's all I'm because we've had, the Naperville ordinance in place for decades, and the schools need money, and you can certainly implement it, and over the years, I mean, there's been millions and millions of dollars that were donated through all our residential development. So in any event, okay, I'll move on. District 67 will be looking at referendums pretty soon, huh?
76, you mean?
Yes. How many residential units you gonna put in?
Oh,
Well, you're gonna have apartments and condos and that.
well, right now it's going to be townhomes and single family residences.
Mhm.
But I'll be honest with you, District 76 is down on their enrollment.
Yeah, that's
They're
good.
welcoming, they're welcoming something that'll bring in more kids.
Okay, well, that's nice to hear.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we've talked to them for sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. Thank you.
Okay, the final question, this might bring in more kids, if this gets done quickly. What is the current timeline for the redevelopment of the former Sears end of the Hawthorne Mall? I think, Roger, you kind of touched on that. Is there anything you
Yeah,
want to
well,
add?
no, the first phase is coming in, now, and that will include the 300 apartments. And with that said, there's an agreement in place with District 73 and to a lesser extent with District 128 regarding monies that will flow to those school districts, long before, a TIF district, which has a 23-year life expectancy is up. So in essence, I think with Hawthorne, what was it?
Summer of 22.
How much? No, what was, I got the village manager here.
It's over 17 million over there.
Yeah, it's like over $17 million during the TIF, okay? And anyway, so, it's an agreement that, quite frankly, we were able to do because it's pay as you go, and we didn't have to float, 50, 60 million bucks in bonds, okay? So.
It's also important to find out that we have no studio in one.
Okay.
Yeah, and anyway, yeah, and I've been quickly reminded these are a lot of studio and one bedroom apartments, and that don't generate a gang of kids. Okay, so that's the status on Sears Hawthorne Mall 2.0.
Thank you. And then a question just came in on the roads. Is there a plan to coordinate with the new mayor of Waukegan on the state of Gert-Garin Road? The Green Oaks and Libertyville Township portions are okay, but the Waukegan section makes it dangerous.
Yes. Oh, Mayor Wysocki had reached out to Ann Taylor regarding that. That came from Kathleen Dorn. She was a part of the Libertyville Township trustees. So we have reached out. We just haven't heard anything back yet, but we anticipate on working with them because it is pretty deplorable.
Okay, thank you. Oh, one more just came in. We're piling in. Question for Mayor Johnson. Did Libertyville make or plan to make any changes to the zoning code as a result of the comp plan recommendations, particularly with downtown and immediate downtown zoning? heights, setbacks, impervious surface, etc.
Right now, there's not any proposed immediate changes, but what I would tell the person who's asking the question is that when it comes to the C1 district, which is downtown, when they talked about heights and setbacks in those instances, we are looking to determine whether there needs to be greater flexibility depending on the quality of the developer or the person that's approaching us, and whether it will be benefit to the overall community. So right now, there's no immediate changes. But the point is that we're receptive based on an evaluation of whether it's a benefit to our C1. What I don't want to see is a conversion back in the C1 from viable dining and retail to first floor office locations. I'm trying not to go back to that. We want to continue to support the revitalization of the C1 district with the appropriate dining and boutique retail. So hopefully that answers your question.
Hey, thank you, Mayor Johnson. I think that concludes all our questions.
Okay, well, thanks very much for the questions. Carol, do you want to just do a quick, before I close, do a quick thing on what's coming up?
Yes, well, we're having amazing May in the GLMV. We've been really, really busy. We've got ribbon cuttings are coming up, quite a few of them in the next month or so. Our next one is on Thursday. It's the grand live opening celebration of the Liquor Barn, which I think Roger referred to, in Vernon Hills. That's May 20th at 4 p.m. All are welcome, so please feel free to join us there. You will meet Marcel, the general manager, as well as some of the other team members, and have an opportunity to be in our photo and shop. So hope to see you there. Friday is the GLMV Conversations for Success virtual network group. It meets every first and third Fridays on Zoom. It's a great time to engage, network, mix and mingle, share business ideas and discussion. Our speaker will be from the Bio One Cleanup Hazard Group. They're a new member. A lot of you know them, Brian and Lynn Martin, and they have some really interesting things to talk about. So please make sure to join us for that. The Zoom link was sent out the other day, but if you need it, let me know. We have a new group starting. It's called GLMV Emerging Leaders. And it's for all our rising stars, and we have a lot of them. It's a power hour headed up by our chair people, Dr. Mike and Jen Hartlett. It's kind of a retweak on our Lake County Young Professionals, but we've kind of rebranded it as Emerging Leaders. All are welcome, whether you're young or young at heart. We're kicking off June 8th, 5 to 7 p.m. over at Crossroads. So join us there for some cornhole and appetizers and some just fun social time. So come on out, that'll be live. As you probably all know, our golf tournament is coming up July 15th over at White Deer Run. It's going to be a really fun time. We sold out last year. We've got some contests. You can have a chance, could be your lucky day on July 15th. 2 hole-in-one contest. You could win a car or some money. And new is our helicopter ball drop with a chance to win some additional, I think it's $5,000 as well if your correctly numbered ball drops in the hole from the helicopter. So we're excited. Golfer and sponsorship opportunities are available. They're filling up, but we do still have some hole sponsorships available. And this event is sponsored by the Wintrust Banks. They're the main event sponsor. And we have beverage carts, 19th hole reception, Dreammakers is beverage carts, CDW. We have all kinds of things going on that day. So please make sure and get your golf and sponsorship RSVPs in. And then finally, we have a lot of other things happening, but watch your emails and check our calendar. And of course, I always try to remind everyone to please shop, dine, and support our local businesses. Enjoy. We send out links to our business directory. They really, really, really need your support now more than ever. Restaurants, small businesses, everybody. That's how we keep our GLMV dynamic and thriving. So thanks again to all our mayors for coming out and doing this today for us. Hopefully next year we'll be in one of our wonderful restaurants, maybe at Dover Straits Live. And we'll see you soon. Thanks.
Thanks, Carol. And I want to thank our villages and our mayors for getting together today. I've always said this is such a unique area with our 4 villages in a different, there's this, there's similarities, a little bit of difference, but you know, the camaraderie that we have with our four villages is just tremendous. I don't think it exists anywhere else around the area. So I want to thank all of our mayors in the villages. I also want to thank our sponsors today, Wintrust for being our main event sponsor and for Dover Straits being our location sponsor. So again, thanks very much. Hopefully next year we'll be able to do this in person. I got a quick little quote before we go. The most difficult thing is the decision to act. The rest is merely tenacity. So guys, thanks very much. We really appreciate all you being here with us today and look forward to seeing you soon. Take care and stay well.
Thanks, Scott. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Thanks, Roger.
Thanks, Thank you, Roger.
Thanks,
Thank you
Steve.
so much.
Yeah, anytime.
Bernie.